Jesus says, "My body is very sick, sick unto death." January 19th, 2018. Words from Jesus to Sister Clare, spoken by Jackie. Jesus, please open our eyes and hearts to the consequences of our opinions and how we injure with our mouth. Amen. Well, it's been a very intense day. Tonight, Ezekiel entered into a terribly painful prophetic experience with the Lord. He saw Jesus in agony on the cross, and a Roto-rooter blade was coming up through the core of the Lord's body and ripping the flesh from inside of him. The Lord was vomiting flesh and blood. While this was going on, Ezekiel was in tremendous travail, just wailing, and was experiencing the very same kind of pain in absolute agony. The Lord's mother was at the foot of the cross, wailing, my son, what have they done to you? Please stop hurting my son." Jesus began, "Ezekiel was given that name because his life and sufferings are a reflection of my body, and I'm calling her to account. If I were to come now, many would not be taken, because they are against me, persecuting the members of my body, assassinating, ripping it limb from limb, disemboweling, piercing my heart, over and over again with their judgments. It is as the prophet said, I gave him a dream about billboards on the highway. Each billboard had a mangled part of a body, a crushed foot, a disfigured and bleeding hand, fingers torn, legs severed from the body, and each billboard was a symbolic of what my body has been doing to itself for a very long time. Clare, what he saw and experienced is what I'm going through with my body. It is sick, 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 with the cancer of calumny, jealousy, fear, stemming from ignorance, backbiting, striking with wicked claw division, avarice, stealing from the poor, and greed. My body is very, very sick, even unto death. Nevertheless, I must heal it, but I want you to speak out clearly about these issues that are tearing me apart. You have not been getting that song for no reason at all. The talk about you has reached epic proportions, and I'm sick unto death over not only you, but my other faithful servants who are suffering from supposedly faithful, mature, solid Christians who are ripping my body asunder. My brides, if you are spreading negativity and judging my servants, in fact, if you are judging anyone, you are in sin. Your hands are stained with blood. Your wedding gown is also smeared with blood. You will not be taken in the rapture if you do not reform your ways. Stop gossiping, stop judging, hurting, destroying ministries you don't understand, that are bearing the copious fruit of salvation and sanctification. You are treacherous, my bride, and I will not have you in heaven with me until you clean up your life. I cannot. Heaven is a place of love. You would be repelled immediately if you tried to enter heaven this way, but enough. It is time for you to change. Then I addressed the Lord on some things that are bothering me. I said, Lord, I'm confused. You have shown me that you don't want me talking about the sins of the deep state. Yet there has to be reform. You've asked us to pray, and you have revealed their sins in an earlier message. But you don't want me looking at the media and following the progress of this monster coming down. Really, I'm perplexed by this. Fresh water is not bitter nor salty. This is the offscouring of the world, and when you dwell on such things, you become contaminated by attitudes and opinions. When you criticize, find fault and guilt, hanging it out for the public to examine, you are promoting judgment and negativity. That is not to say that some people are called to do this job, like judges, law enforcement, and those who determine such things. And it is a regrettable thing that must be done. The cancers of society must be removed. When I return, you will still be dealing with those who prefer sin to righteousness and honesty. Therefore, many of you will be judges and called to make determinations against the guilty. But I do not want this bread in my body. It is rotten, decaying flesh, and as such must be isolated to be dealt with. I want my bride to pray for these people who were once innocent babes and have been bent into corruption from childhood. I want them healed, repented, and in heaven with me. This will not happen if everyone is listening to the wrongs they did. You will become what you meditate and feed on. I don't want you feeding on that or spreading it. I need a spotless bride, one whose heart is struck to the core with sorrow for these people. One who knows the grievous sins they have been guilty of in their own lives and refuses to judge others for their sins. You can judge the sin, but only I know the motives involved. Clare, I want your hearts to be pure and gentle, meek and loving, always praying for the best in even the most hopeless-looking cases. Satan runs the media, and his entire agenda, with rare exceptions, is to promote gossip, true or false. Of course, the more lies the better, because the people feed on the lies, open doors to be sifted, and let him right in. Gossip is one of his most successful tools, the master key to unlock all doors to the soul. The master key, it opens even the most vigilant of hearts up for his demons to enter. Every time you draw attention to the faults of others, I must draw attention to yours. You are called to cover the faults of others. Yes, there are times to talk about what goes on in your life and how you handle it. But it is a slippery slope that deteriorates quickly into bitterness. Just continue to pray for and bless those who injure you. That is the safest posture. My people, I do not want you feeding from the offscouring of the world, except in the case of necessity, where you are involved in lawful action or are forced to confront a situation that is unjust. Get the information out on the table, then get to work on it. Don't itemize the list of their sins and pass along judgment and condemnation through one email after another. It would shock you to know that many involved in the deep state really believe that what they are doing is a duty they owe to mankind to improve the earth. They think the ends justify the means, and they are part of the super race that is going to make the world a better place for us to live. They are blind and do not see they are working for Satan to destroy the innocent, and their ends do not justify their means. Lord, I'm still wrestling with this in my heart, wrestling with how will we know what to pray for. Most people don't hear you clearly, so their only information is from other sources, contaminated sources. Your question is legitimate. There is a time to recognize corruption and make up your mind to do something about it. For most, the action is prayer and supporting those who have to handle this highly contaminated matter. I bring it to you for prayer. Others may pick up on it from other sources and then go into prayer. The problem comes when you become addicted, like watching soap operas. They're highly addictive, and so is the news. Knowing is never satisfied with information. Knowing can be an endless black pit in your life, where every day you just have to find out the latest discoveries, arrests, prosecution, more and more and more. A major part of your life becomes riveted on evil, and it has its effect. You are no longer the pure and lovely bride of Christ. You are now filthy from sifting through the dumpster. Your dress smells and looks disgusting, and your head is full of disgusting facts. I would rather you knew nothing about this than to see you addicted to rotten trash. I know this is difficult for you to comprehend, Clare, and I truly sympathize with you, wanting to know the progress. But I'm asking you to trust me. Knowing these things may satisfy your curiosity for a short time, but they will breed judgment, indignation, self-righteousness, and pride. It is much better for you to go sifting through your own conscience every day with a repentant heart. This will bring forth good fruit. I do understand, Lord. I can see that you have a balance. That's right, and the balance can be summed up. Touch it lightly and move on. Take it to prayer. Plead with me for their salvation. Pray for the victims. Support those who live by moral commitments and take those seriously who want to serve in the public sector. Support those who work in the field to heal victims. Pray for the victims. These are all salutary things. I will bring little bits of information throughout your week that give you a taste of where things are at. This way, you will not be seeking them and become captivated by the way things are unfolding. You are all called to be saints. That means you do not think as men on earth. You think with a heavenly mind. You love unconditionally. You pray for those who hurt you. Remember, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You are the ones who demonstrate the thoughts and ways of acting in heaven, because it is your homeland and I live inside of you. That is my personal heaven, in the hearts of believers.